Oh, Steve, the expectations were sky high for Travis Hunter. The Jacksonville Jaguars trade up to the number 2 spot. They want the guy to play both sides of the football, and they still plan on doing that. What we saw in 7 games.
Yeah.
Starting on the offensive side of the ball, obviously the season cut short due to the LCL tear in the right knee. Has season-ending surgery. I'm going to start here, Steve, because there are reports out there that the Jacksonville Jaguars want to continue to push for him to play this 70 to 80%, maybe, I don't know about 80, but 65, 75% of the snaps on both sides of the ball. Now, Liam Cohen at that press conference did not say he would be coming back playing both sides of the ball. He said they would evaluate everything. I know it's a small sample size, but do you agree, I think you maybe just said it, that he should continue to play both defensive back and wide receiver?
Well, so originally I thought no. I thought at some point he is going to need to pick one position. After talking to a few people in Jacksonville myself, and I quote, he can pretty much do anything he wants on the football field. That's how talented he is. He just has to now improve and work on some better practice habits because he's no longer in college. The athletes are a little bit faster. They catch on, and you can't necessarily always give the same routes and the same movement. So adjusting from playing in college to the NFL has been one of those things. But I've been told, man, great kid, super likable, does everything, loves to practice. He doesn't come to practice and he's dragging. He comes to practice with high energy. He's heavily involved. He's focused. He's a little bit distracted with being too charismatic and playful. But that's a good problem to have when you got a guy that's too playful. That means that he's very much in tune of the tone of his teammates. So I really like what I'm seeing. I just wish we would have had the opportunity to watch him continue to develop the remainder of the season, especially the way the Jacksonville Jaguars are playing. Jakobi Meyers being there, how he fits in with them. Brian Thomas Jr. is getting better. You got Tim Patrick. To be able to be around all these different types of football players, how that would help him transition, because he will be stealing moves or plagiarizing moves because Jakobi Meyers does some things a little bit different than Tim Patrick. Tim Patrick does some things different, obviously, than Brian Thomas. And then Travis Hunter, he's doing something that none of those guys are doing. He's also playing on the other side of the field. So for me, a route running for Travis Hunter has to be incomplete. And the reason I'm saying incomplete is because he just didn't get the opportunity to continue to play. His best game was London, balled, but then after that, a couple of games later, or whatever, he gets hurt. So for me, I just give him overall an incompletion, because even with the star factor, he's going to be a star. But how big of a star? How much of an impact will he have if he was continue to be on pace of keep playing? Would he got a Pro Bowl vote for a wide receiver and corner? Right? So you just don't know. There's so many things on here. Football intelligence or his transition, been excellent. He's transitioned well. What he's done in college.
Let's give him an A+ for that.
Yeah, so an A+.
Okay.
He went to college and conducted himself professional manner. He goes to the NFL, same thing. He doesn't wild out and get DUIs and all that stuff out partying. You don't see him partying. You see him doing the same thing he was doing in college. Sitting at home with them square-ass glasses, playing video games. That's what he was doing in college. Fishing. That's what he's doing now, and nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I want to chime in with the transition part too, because the reason I said, hey, let's give him a grade on that is, if you talk to anybody there, and you said you did, so I know you've heard this, but for everybody listening or watching, it's the transition of what he was trying to do has never been done before. But what I was told, Steve, was the transition was actually harder on everyone else than it was him. Like, that's why I wanted to give him a grade on this, because I think it's fascinating that, like, he was like, okay, where do you need me? Okay, you need me in this meeting? You need me in that? The coaches had to figure out the transition to catch up with a guy that's in the building all the time. He's always moving, like you said. He's always trying to work. He's always trying to do all of this stuff for this crazy transition that he's trying to do that we've never seen before. They've had to catch up with him because he's done it before. He's kind of balanced it a little bit in college. They're all learning around him. That's the exact opposite of, like, we did our TMAC grades, and it's like, you got a great wide receiver coach that knows how to work with receivers. Let's go. That helps your transition. It's a little bit tougher when you're going through a transition that your whole coaching staff has never experienced before. So I do want to give them a high grade for that, because you're putting your coaching staff in a position where they're learning on the fly with you about how to manage all of this, and that doesn't make it obviously any easier when you don't have a coaching staff that goes, hey, we've already done this. This is what we do. They're figuring it out with them. There is something to be said, Steve, and I don't know if this is incomplete or if this is something you can give a grade on, because we know everything he's having to learn. We know that he's spent a lot more time on the offensive side of the ball, because I was told there's more ball to learn. Maybe you can tell everybody at home what that really entailed. I would assume it's the calls, it's the checks, it's the everything about the offense that he has to learn. But this is a smart dude. He's a very smart, intelligent young man. And you talk about learning ball. Well, if you look at Colorado and their offensive mindset, oh boy,
Pat Shurmur has been relieved of his duties. And so I'm just pointing that out, because at times when I've said that Pat Shurmur wasn't very good, people are like, oh man, you're hating. Why are you throwing shade? Now there's a confirmation. Everything that I was saying, right? That he is the offensive philosophy for the Colorado Buffaloes was not very good, and it played a role in Jimmy Horn Jr., Shedeur Sanders, Lassiter Webster, and Travis Hunter offensively, right? Just when it's not really good, then all of a sudden you go to a new team and they expect you to know these terms. And when you don't know these terms, that's like a week. That's literally a week of relearning and verbiage that takes time.
Yeah.
And then that slows down the other stuff. Like when they give you your playbook in the middle of the in the beginning of the OTAs, organized team activities, man, that thing is overwhelming, because they're talking about where you line up in a huddle, what's the cadence, all the different terminologies, all of those little terms. And then they have plays where one word gives you the responsibility of the whole play. Spacing. Spacing is a play. You got guy going underneath, space over the top, get to the flat. You're supposed to know that. If you haven't been taught that, it makes you run hesitant. It makes you run going, what am I doing? What am I doing? So the fact that he has that football intelligence, the fact that he has had a step back and he's able to overcome some of the deficiencies, the impotency of Pat Shurmur in calling the offense, I think he's voted very well. And then Big Dog, the star factor.
What if sports were traded like markets? Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not you against the house, it's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood prediction markets changes the game. It's people moving the action, so when momentum shifts, you can move with it. I always knew the game, but never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Now I can actually take part live in a market powered by people. You're no longer just a spectator. Play by play, you decide. Trade every play with Robinhood. Now available across the US, download the Robinhood app now to begin. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk. and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm.
Man, I don't feel comfortable giving him a grade.
Yeah. My thought, actually, Steve, on the big dog was this: like doing something with a lot of pressure on you that you're doing that everybody's told you can't do. I think he's handled it during this season very
Yes, he has.
And I got to give him credit for that because it's a hot button topic.
And he's about to be a father.
Yeah. Oh, well, okay. Congratulations. How about the way he was used? I'm just kind of curious about this. You saw him getting some more targets before the injury, like some screen stuff. Get the ball in his hands, working out of the slot. How do you see next year working for him?
I think next year is going to be really interesting because he's going to be rehabbing. Mm-hmm. So how does the injury affect him, his mobility? And then you got Jacoby Myers, Tim. If they keep Tim Patrick, I don't know if he's on a 1-year deal. Then Brian Thomas Jr.
At Washington as well, I believe, right?
Right, Washington. You got to know that there's a lot of thoroughbreds in the barn that you got to feed, right? And what do we talk about with Trevor Lawrence? The less he throws the ball, the better he plays.
Yeah, they're gonna run the ball.
So running a football. So how many miles can you feed? How do you keep those guys? Who becomes trade bait or who becomes expendable? That's just how the transition works. And no matter what Travis Hunter does, he's cheap labor.
Back. Even picked at the top of the draft, you are.
Yes. Cheap labor means, yes, he's getting a boatload of money, but he's not getting as much as Trevor Lawrence and some of these other people. And Brian Thomas Jr., his contract's going to be coming up. ETN, his contract's going to be coming up. And I know it's a ways out, but you have to think a ways out to be able to be conscious to make decisions today.
Yeah, well, he's not getting an offensive paycheck and a defensive paycheck.
No,
either.
you get one check.
You get one check.
17
as a
weeks
player
only.
on the roster. That's what you get. That's the check you get. Do you want to touch on the defensive side of the ball?
No,
at all?
I don't. I really don't.
Okay. That's fine.
I just think that he's learning. They've had him playing in different positions, playing against different guys. He's had to run routes against different players. We did a breakdown earlier when he was going against Ricky Pearsall, how he was frustrated being off coverage and then he was on coverage and did a really good job. So he's trying to figure out his voice, trying to figure out how he wants to play within this defense. And then also, too, they got Greg Newsome now. So you don't think he's going to pick up some tips and trades from Newsome, who's an excellent corner? Man, that's what I'm saying. His potential can be whatever it's going to be through the roof. But it all depends on how the injury and how he heals and how long it takes him.
Yeah. He does have a track record. I mean, nothing like this, but a track record of coming back from injuries relatively quickly. So we'll see. Obviously, every injury is different. Yep. Everything is different. He hasn't had something like this. So we'll see what it's like, and we'll see what the spring happens once he's back on the football field, hopefully. We'll see. I don't think they're going to rush him back by any stretch. But a lot of what you said, Steve, in terms of all of the different aspects of ball on the offense, he can be working on all of that right now. Yep. I mean, that's all still available to him, the whole mental side of that growth, because I know there's a lot of it. And then there still was, and I know you and I talked about it when we were at his showcase and watching him run routes, there's still things that he just, frankly, due to time on task, hasn't learned the intricacies of the receiver spot yet. Just so talented. Yeah. And so we're going to see all that get fine-tuned. This is a process here. So
here's my overall thought process with Travis Hunter. He's not a finished product. He's not perfect. No. However, he sure does give you a damn good chance of doing some things that no one has ever been able to do because of his willingness, his intelligence, his hard work. And he's a freaking football player. Yeah. And he loves ball. He eats, breathes football. And that's what you want from a young guy.